Let's break the mold, start believing, and stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Welcome to Wild on 7, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
Shaka Khan test, 1, 2.
You can pull that mic wherever you want, so that you don't have to
Khan.
do that whenever you. Yeah.
Side mic,
I hope you're recording, because these are the promos.
side mic.
Side mic?
People that talk out of the side of their
Or
mouth.
for people with a crooked nose.
Billy like this. Yeah, I think it's been a great camp.
The eye
We
mic.
got the 4 games at home.
All right, welcome back to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. Hey, speaking of sponsors, we've got some pretty cool news. We've got another one on board, Duke Cannon. They've got some fantastic hair products, and with that, they're right here on display. We'll get into them a little bit, but I want to segue into our guest. We've got GM Bill Guerin with us. By the way, you remember the band Arrested Development?
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember the song Tennessee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Whenever I say Billy
Tennessee.
G,
That's good.
I want that to be like your walk-up song, like Billy G.
We should create that.
Yeah, right? But so the Duke Cannon stuff, Liam, your son, I saw him at the rink last night. You're going to have to grab some of this stuff for him.
Yeah.
He's got some beautiful hair right now.
Will you explain
it's
it?
incredible.
What he has?
It is incredible.
Need some mustache grooming stuff.
I walked past him a couple times. We locked eyes. I didn't recognize him at first either. Gosh, he's a monster. But then he's got the hair that's intimidating and the 1970s maybe mustache to go along with it.
Yeah, the mustache is from the 70s. The hair is from the 80s, the old Brian Bosworth.
So it's curly.
Very.
And it almost looks like a hockey helmet, like it just curves around the ears, and then it's long down the back, kind of. It's not like a full mullet, but it looks like the sides are shaved with steps in it.
Yeah. He's working with what he has.
I like that he's spanning 2 decades. It brings in a lot of demographics.
Yeah, he's his own man. He's doing his thing. I love it.
We'll send you home with maybe some serious flow and a handsome man travel kit from Duke Cannon, or a big giant bar of soap.
A big giant bar of beer soap would be good
Bush-
for a college
Bush
kid.
You
see that?
The handsome man travel kit just does it all. It touches all bases.
It does. Have you ever seen hand soap that smells like beer?
Seems good.
No.
Yeah. So just in case you just want to smell like Bush lattes, it might be good for deer hunting.
I think so.
This is like, we're all Seinfeld fans, but this is like when Kramer came up with the cologne, the beach.
Yeah. It's similar.
It's similar, but no, I would use this.
You ready for the first question?
Yeah, let her rip.
So I asked a young lady that works in her office to give me a question. I said we're going to interview Wild GM Billy Guerin, but I don't think I explained the assignment super well. So this is the question she gave me. I want you to think about it. How far can you throw a 10-pound ham? Okay, so you're on the goal line maybe of a football field, and you have to throw a 10-pound ham. What distance do you believe you could throw a 10-pound ham?
Oh my God, 10 pounds. That's a lot when you're throwing something.
And think of the shape of it.
That's what I said.
I don't know if you can even grip it. And
Yeah,
you
you can.
probably have to maybe a little pole vault
Well,
spin.
I guess I know what I'll be doing later.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go down to the grocery store and then hit the field.
Toss a ham.
I figured
I'm saying, no, 30 yards is too much.
that's aggressive.
That's 20 yards.
20 yards would be a very nice one.
Like a 20-yard shot put.
In her defense, she said she asks this question.
Maybe like the
Billy.
grenade throw.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably flip it. She said she asked this question because if you ask 100 people, 80 of them will think about their distance, and 20 of them just say, "Why would I be throwing a ham?" And she says, "I would never be friends with those people." So you already passed the test.
Yeah, exactly. Like why?
Strong start from Billy.
Honestly, I'm going to do it.
You're gonna toss a ham.
Yes.
We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go get this dialed because now I want to know the best way to throw a ham.
I only
Well, I
think,
got a running. Can you take a step?
I think as long as you don't foot fault, you can go do anything you want before the goal.
So it's like bowling.
correct.
Yeah.
No foot fault.
I don't know where we go from there. That's the
Gotta
same
get my old-
stuff Russo
I'm gonna
asked
get my
about
old
it.
cleats out.
Yeah. So I actually, this is kind of a natural segue into my first question.
Sure it is.
because a Savage could throw a ham, right? And on the podcast last year, we brought up like the 7th Street Savages because Middleton came in, Delorier came in, the team got tougher down the stretch in playoff hockey. Delorier obviously not back, but the team was, I think, led the league in majors last year. Is that still a component, like still an identity component to the Wild this year?
Yeah, I think so, and more than as individuals, it's a team toughness. It's something that, I really believe in it because, and not just, look, the days of fighting just to fight are long gone, and for good reason. You know what? It's still an element. But I just want guys to be able. I just want guys feeling comfortable out there and sticking up for each other.
Yeah, I mean the team was I think 3rd in the NHL in penalty minutes maybe, and a lot of it was just that guy sticking up for one another, and there was penalties in that regard. But malice for the chalice, is that still on the ice? Like for us too, when we watched last year's product, there was passion, that they were physical, ready to lay it on the line. This year training camp there was the video last year. It's about winning. Is that still something that you put into them? Because camp seems very serious right now too. Like guys have come to camp, and it's not happy-go-lucky. It's time to get to work.
Yeah, and I give the coaches and the players that the credit for that. That's a good place. Nobody not being happy the way things ended last year is one thing. Doing something about it this year is a completely different one. And I think where you see the change in mentality in the players is a good thing. And you know what? Yeah, they are serious. I think this locker room, this not just the leadership in the room, but everybody really has a really good balance of the seriousness of the game, the high stakes cost of the game, and the fun element. You have to have fun playing this game, but there's a switch you have to flip, and when the game's going on, you've got to flip that switch and get down to business.
Okay, I got one. I just found out your dog was named Lando, which is just awesome.
He's here today too.
I heard I didn't see that. What type of dog?
He's a Great Bernese. So he's a mix between a Bernese Mountain Dog and a Great Pyrenees.
So that's a big dog.
He's
looks like a Saint Bernard kind of.
Yeah. He's got that coloring. He's 5 months old and he's 70 pounds.
Oh yeah, he's big.
He's awesome too. I love.
He's just tugging Taylor Cashman around right now too.
Yeah. She's puppy sitting while I do this.
So
he lost a tooth down in the locker room.
Hockey dog.
So
I think last season was Empire Strikes Back because it's the best Star Wars movie in my opinion. We had the best regular season ever, but at the end, Luke got his hand cut off. Han was frozen in carbon, so the bad guys won at the end, the St. Louis Blues. So, if you were using a Star Wars metaphor, what movie would you want this season to be?
Well, I guess it would have to be Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. We want to be drinking with Ewoks at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
On 7th Street.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 7th Street, next summer just chocked full of Ewoks?
Are Ewoks real?
Drinking with Ewoks and ghosts of Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker.
We should bring Ewoks to games. That's true. That movie is so uplifting. Everybody comes out of all the people that fell in the little pit come back. Yeah, this is
Ewok band playing.
The Ewok band playing for the playoffs at Tom Reed's. Yeah, all right. Great answer.
Speaking of Ewoks, fourth liners, a lot of us, that was me, so I could say that. We're Ewoks, a little different. And we talked about this a little bit. But has the line of a fourth, or has the role of a fourth line changed in your mind a little bit? Like it used to be reserved for the tough guys, for the malice on your team. But now it seems that everything has kind of shifted. Historically, it was 2 scoring lines, a checking line, and then a tough line. And now it's almost like 3 scoring lines, and then what is the identity of a good fourth line in today's game?
Well, I really think it depends on the philosophy of your coach and your team. We want all 4 lines to be able to score. but that's going to be at different levels. And Dean doesn't like to use fourth line, so
As a term.
Because he wants everybody on the team treated equally and feeling as important. And I think if you label somebody like that, he doesn't like the label. So our line in that role, I think right now, you've in training camp anyway, we've seen Dewar, Duhaime, and Rossi. Those guys need to bring energy. They need to bring speed, energy, and you know what? The ability to shoot the puck in the net when they get the chance. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just just go out and hit, go out and do this. No, you know what? They've got to be good defensively. They've got to be able to kill penalties and contribute offensively when they can.
We used to refer to Boldy and Rossi as the beautiful babies, and they're kind of both growing up in front of our eyes. When you watch those two players, thinking back to your era, who do they remind you of? Like, what do you see as a project out a Rossi or project out a Boldy? What type of player do they remind you of from your era?
Oh man.
Or even in the league now, I'm just trying to think about what they can be.
Yeah, I see Rossi as kind of like a Krejci type guy.
Yep.
I would say.
Look out for that.
I know, heads up.
I think something just shot out of my nose too there.
Just a real solid two-way guy. He can play power play, kills penalties. He's going to be good in face-offs. Bolds is a really different type player. Not overly fast, but real deceptive. Like, he's shifty and kind of squirmy.
Yep.
Tough to get a hold of, and now he's strong to add that, but he's got such great hockey sense and playmaking ability. He's got a very unusual style. It's tough to.
Is his mentality pass first, or is he like right down the line?
No, I think it's pass first, but then he's got this wrister that's like
nasty.
Yeah, gnarly.
You know who he kind of reminds me of a little bit now is like a Ryan Getzlaf, where he's big, he's strong, pass first, but has a good shot. Like, you have to remind him from time to time, but let it rip. Like, you can shoot the puck. Getzy was maybe more straight line up and down the ice a little bit.
I think Getzy was a little more power.
Yeah.
Straightforward, just power. He'll run you over too.
Right.
Bolds is a little shiftier than he was, I think. He's got this, he goes to the 10 and 2s, and then he'll kind of like cut in and out.
Yeah.
And the puck's like in his feet, but he's still handling it. And
but
he's really unique. I was just trying to think of guys that I played with, and like totally different, because Bernie Nichols was a shooter, but like Bernie was like rail thin, slow, crafty. Yeah, just crafty. And then he could make great plays, and then he had a bomb. Used a stick that weighed as much as his table too.
The other thing I noticed with Boldy is it doesn't matter. He's like a vacuum when the puck is around. It's just all of a sudden calmed down, and then the play is developing. Like, there's no point where it's like fumbling, it's bouncing, it's like instantly calm, game is being played, and that's how Getzlaf was too. It's like good hands, and everybody thinks that that's a toe drag on a one-on-one move, and that's not always necessarily the case, and why it's such a great advantage. Boldy's one of those guys where whenever the puck is in his range, it is calm, collected, and ready to be moved in a good spot.
He's got that ability where he can kind of pull pucks out of anywhere, and it's just. But as soon as he grabs it, it's all, like you said, it's ready to be. He's thinking one step ahead, so he can move it kind of right away.
Do you think Sam Steele choosing to wear number 13 is a shameless attempt to suck up to you?
Yes, and it's a good one.
It's working.
Good job.
Does he just instantly look better in that number?
It's a great number, man.
Just
take bad luck.
You just say
and make your own.
Who's his agent? We gotta go. We gotta.
You gotta have balls to wear it.
13 is like, when you play roulette and there's the two green ones on top. Not red or black. You're kind of off the board. It's just a great number.
Yeah, it is. It's a great number.
Yeah, so Sam Steele's obviously your favorite player in the Wild.
Yep.
No big deal.
So if you're looking at those guys, and I'm curious, there's a lot of components to your job where I'd love to just get to the bottom of it, but you'll have conversations this time of year where you got to sit a kid down and say, hey, sorry, you played well, but either it's the roster doesn't allow you to stick around or you need to be better. What is it like for two of those conversations? Because I'm curious from your perspective. A guy that has a good camp that you just don't have room for, and a guy that you get to keep around and you get to make his day.
Yeah, two very different conversations. But the one thing that guys want is honesty.
Mm-hmm.
You can't BS your way through a conversation like that. Just hit them straight between the eyes. But when you're sending them down and it's not a good day, and you got to have some compassion for the guy. But again, honesty. And yeah, this has been the toughest camp because my message to the guys was make your own opportunity. Let us know that you're here. Do something. And we had a number of guys that we've already sent down that did that. And it's really hard because you just don't have room. But the thing is, injuries happen, trades happen, room is made. So we have so many opportunities throughout the year, and we need to make sure that we reward these guys. They've done everything we've asked, so it's up to us now. And if we can't, we can't. But when there's opportunity, we need to do it. We owe that to them. And then, on the other side of it, yeah, it's great to let a guy know that he made the team or he's staying, that's a feel good.
Let's play. Can we do a little role play? Because I'd like John. Okay. So
now this was not. We didn't talk about.
We didn't talk about this, but John has this theory that men's league hockey now, the earlier in the week you play, the better you are.
In our town, that's true. We're in White Bear Lake.
So the Monday skate is
ex-pro,
where you want to get to. That's the NHL. Tuesday would be the American League. Wednesday might be the Coast, and then Thursday might be the Southern Professional League, and then from there on.
There's a group Sunday actually as well.
So John's a Tuesday skater.
Shouldn't be.
And he lays it on the line. He got cut last week, and he can't shave his beard.
You got cut?
Got a little,
cut.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I should have probably.
He should be cut too.
Yeah. You know what? They were honest with me though. You're not good, is what they said.
You're not.
And there's also a skate
not
on
a
Wednesday.
Strong player.
Yeah. No. What is the question here?
So the question is just, hey, you're gonna have to send John down from Tuesday to the Wednesday skate. What's the conversation gonna be like?
All right. So, hey, I was told I was supposed to come in here and see you.
Yeah, listen, John, we got to make a change, and we've got to move you from the Tuesday group to the Wednesday group. You've played hard, you've worked real hard. It's just a matter of, you're
Conditioning.
You're not good.
Your conditioning. Sometimes the hardest exercise is putting the fork down.
Yeah, the best thing I do is whenever I score, I go under the bar and I tell the waitress first $100 on me, so everybody gets kind of a free drink. So it's kind of like
you're buying your way on the team.
Yeah, I'm buying your way on.
You look like a hockey player.
Hard to
Wait,
do
it's not kind of like anything. You're buying your way on the team.
You look like a hocky player, though. You've got the hair.
Let's focus on Bill.
You should wear 13.
That is one of my
That'll
favorites.
get you to Tuesday.
Now you just rocked my world. Okay, I'm going to try. Okay, last year you went to Duluth, team building. You're going to go somewhere this year. What are the ingredients of a great bonding trip at the start of the year? It's like I think of it like a guy's trip, right? Is it a great meal? You do some sort of activity. I don't know if you do Navy SEALs crap where you're like, doing some of that kind of testing yourself stuff. What are the kind of buckets to hit on the start of the season bonding trip?
I think first things first is everybody letting their guard down. At management, coaches and players and trainers all kind of,
being who you are.
Yeah, let your guard down. Like this is a freebie. You do, just be who you are. And I think that's the first thing. Second thing is beer.
Yep.
But then you know what? Just do something where everybody can participate. You know, I mean, for us, that's, you know, because of Dino, it's usually golf. We, you know, the Navy SEAL stuff and military stuff, that's great. And I love doing that stuff. But I think just, you know, for our group, it's more, you know, it's more, let's relax and have a little bit of fun. And,
Good meals? Do you do like a
Oh,
dinner
yeah.
out, or
Oh,
do you
my
cook
God.
everything on site, or how do you do the food?
oh, it depends where you are.
Okay.
It depends where you are. Usually it'll be like, one night will be like a barbecue, or we're outside and just picnic tables and stuff like that with awesome food.
Yeah, that's
Food's a huge factor. It's called the NHL, the Never Hungry League.
I'm sure.
That's what we said.
As-
The toughest exercise sometimes.
Yeah.
Putting the fork down.
Yep. But that's a Jacques Lemaire quote from back in Devil's days. So he was mad at us. Every guy's weights were going up, and he goes, "You take the fork and you put the fork down." I'll never forget it. I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Hey, ask him something serious and smart.
Serious and smart. No, I want to.
don't have any of those on mine.
I want to. No, I want to ask permission for something.
Okay.
Did you ever play with Matt Niskanen? Was he in Pitt when you were there?
Permission.
No, but I'm getting to that part.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
He was there when I was retired.
Long story short, and I don't know if the players listen to this, so it could botch it, but I want to pull a prank on one of the guys on one of the road trips coming up. The long one out to the West Coast in November.
Why are you saying it on this then?
That seems like a bad
Like
plan.
that. You're better than that.
Like millions of people listen
Yeah,
to this.
That's what I mean. I think we're still going to be able to pull it off, which is going to make it even better.
Millions of
We're going to be able to pull this off.
All right.
So Matt Niskanen, I think it was Marty Turco, they went on a road trip, and he was driving some car, and he brought it in. Do you remember the old TV show, Pimp My Ride?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they pimped his ride, so he got off the airplane. And his car was just like completely pimped out, looking different.
That's an expensive prank.
Yeah. So I don't want to
Sounds
go.
more like a gift.
I don't want to go that route, but I want it on that trip. It's like, I don't know, maybe 7 days, but
Why don't we
enough
just put it on blocks or something?
enough time to change the muffler out, and I want to get like a Vin Diesel racing muffler in there.
I'll put a glass back on
Yeah,
it.
so then all of a sudden they start the car up because I think it's coming back from the West Coast, and this is why I need to ask you because I don't know the schedule, but if you come back the following day, which sometimes you do from the West Coast, it'll be perfect because it'll be midday. You can have a camera there and just, and then you just get the pictures of them like with glass packs in their car. You know, you just have to get it to the shop. I think it's
Fast
doable.
and Furious.
Yeah, I think it's doable. Is that something that? Yeah.
Minneapolis, St. Paul drift.
Yeah. Well, that series has like 15 movies, so there probably
Yeah,
is
exactly.
one filmed in downtown Minneapolis.
Oh,
But
God.
so
Yeah.
green light.
I think it'd be great.
Should I go after one of the coaches or?
Let's talk off
Yeah.
off podcast.
Think of the person least likely to ever see any of this at all. That's probably Dean. There's
I
no
don't
way
wanna do
Dean's
Dean.
listening to this.
Dean reminds me of like one of the guys from X-Men. You know, the guy that you can take your glasses off and he can just cut your neck off with lasers.
Yeah, I'd be
Dean
scared to
strikes
mess
me
with
as that
Dean.
kind of guy. I got a few targets that I think would be good too. But all right, good. That's green light. So back to you, Green.
Well, I just want to finish with the two sets of games to start the season, right? Rangers at home, super fun opening night. Kings with an old friend of ours, Colorado, Vancouver. Then you get this road trip, almost a second bonding thing, right? Boston, Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit, Chicago. How do you, as a GM, look at those kind of sets of games, homestands, road trips? Do you think like 10 games at a time? And how do you kind of go about the season, marking milestones and how you think you're doing?
It's different ways to look at it. Right? I look at it one by one.
Each game by each game.
Yeah, each game by each game. I understand. Like we're starting out with a very tough schedule. We have good teams coming in. We hit the road for a long time, but again, it's one by one. I think when you start to look at it as groups and things like that, it's more for goalie management, things like that. Who's playing where? Who's how many games in a row will Flower play? When does Phillip get to play? All those things. So I mainly with that, and then we do talk a lot about like the practice schedule in those times, like when do we practice, when are the days. I mean, we already have them kind of figured out, but do we change it? Do certain guys need extra time off? All that stuff.
Yeah. Do you think a long road trip early in the year is beneficial? You've probably had lots of different things in your career. Do you like that, getting the guys together, away from their families, on the road together at the start of the year? Does that help, or is that overblown?
I think the away from their families is overblown. I think people say that, but I think most guys like their families.
Probably.
So they're not that upset when they're around them. But to get early on, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't really overthink stuff like that. Like, we got to get on the road early.
Yeah.
Like, get the guys together. We've been together for 2 weeks already, or 3 weeks. Like, we've been playing games. We've been doing this. We it shouldn't take a road trip early in the year to get your guys bonding together. They should already be together.
I got a couple of hockey questions I want to throw your way. So you've got the cap issues a little bit, but you've hit home runs on guys that you've labeled like Ryan Hartman. I think Joe so far has shown he's great steal. Some of these guys where they haven't been able to hit their potential. How much do you look at analytics? Like, what goes into making those decisions and picking those guys? Because I mean, the batting average that you have right now with these guys is pretty impressive.
Well, thanks. Analytics is a big part of it. I consult Matt Sells on everything. And then they're the character check, and speaking to people who know players, what they're like, what their personalities are like, all that stuff goes into it. And, and then we look at what their playing situation was, what their team situation was. You're not always drafted to the best fit. We look at a guy like Sam, who was in Anaheim, but, they were in a rebuild, kind of not in a rebuild. Getzey was still there, so you really weren't going to play over him, and he ended up being a role player, but he's got a history of scoring. So was it just a bad fit? And can he get back to his his scoring ways? Same with Tyson. There was a ceiling there, we believe, in Colorado. Rightfully so. They have a great team and great players. Will he be able to break through with more opportunity and gain confidence? And it looks like he has. So those are the type things. But, a lot goes into it.
What is the ceiling for some of these young guys? And we talked briefly on this the other night. A lot of these guys had career years and taking the next step. And what is that going to entail for some of them, for a guy like Boldy, for a guy like Foligno, for a guy like Kirill even?
Do it again. You know what? Expectations are high. You've set the bar high on yourself and as a team. This is what's expected. And you know what? The thing is, these guys expect it from themselves. I mean, guys always want to get better. You have 60 points one year, you want 70 the next. You want, you get, 25 goals, you want 35. So guys always want to get better, but we need them to be better. And it's not always just about points and this and that. We need to be better, front to back, back to front, on the ice, off the ice, every way possible. We need to be better.
Special teams were a big issue coming out of last year, starting this year. It's kind of a clean slate. They look to have improved. Do you see that?
Well, I mean, it's only been 6 preseason games, but I know what the coaches have put into it. I know that the players have bought into it, and everybody knows that we have to get better on the power play, on the penalty kill, on faceoffs. Mm-hmm. We made that abundantly clear to everybody. And I know our coaching staff has put in a big effort, and like I said, the buy-in from the players has been tremendous, and our PK has been really good through the preseason. So we'll see if we can carry it into the regular season. One
on the faceoffs. I mean, I'm curious your mentality on them. They're important, right? And mm-hmm. I think Minnesota was 27th in faceoffs in the NHL last year, 46%. But Colorado was 28th. You can win a cup without being good in the dot. But like, where do you stand on like how important are winning those?
And that's what like Matt Sells always has that argument. And we'll talk about faceoffs, and he'll just shake his head and be like, "Don't worry about it." Like, and he's right. Like, look at Colorado, but I do think we'll give ourselves a better chance if we are better in the faceoff circle because we'll start with the puck more, and I think that's important.
For me,
And I also think situational faceoffs too.
That's right.
Like it's you need a faceoff win when you're down a goal and you're up and you have a 6-on-5. You need that faceoff win. You need a penalty kill win. You need these timely faceoffs win. So, is your percentage that important? I don't know. Debatable because of what Colorado did, and Florida was down there.
Right.
A bunch of teams were down. Like good teams were in the bottom half, but it's the timeliness of a big faceoff win.
Right, making sure you win the power play faceoff so that you're in the zone the whole time. The penalty kills, getting your clear. Neutral zone faceoffs, you could go arguably a whole game without winning a neutral zone faceoff, and it might not cost you anything. Right. So
I just have one more. So the difference between regular season and playoff hockey, you've won cups. So that is it, no matter how great the regular season is, in some capacity, it's like you're hitting balls in the simulator, right? And then when you get to the gauntlet, you get out to the playoffs, you get to end people's seasons, you get to your Warriors, you're going for the chalice. Do you see that as a progression where maybe a team learns and, a couple years in, you even saw that with Tampa, right? Where they start to learn what it takes in the playoffs? Or is it a mentality where you need a certain type of player that you throw in the mix to help you in playoff hockey? What do you think it is that makes you successful in playoff hockey?
Well, I think it is important that you learn. You know what? We have to learn. You know what? We learned something in the 7-game series against Vegas. Mm-hmm. Like our guys limped out of that series, but that's what it takes. And we didn't win, but that's what it takes. You know what? I hope we learned that we got away from our game plan against St. Louis. We didn't stick to what was making us successful, and it cost us. We didn't adjust on the penalty kill, and it cost us. Things like that. But I think you probably the best recent example is Tampa Bay. Everybody thinks, Tampa Bay is this flawless, team that's just kind of cruised in, and they won back-to-back cups and, went to a third one in a row and all this stuff. Well, they've had some tough times too. They missed the playoffs, conference final, and missed the playoffs. Swept by Columbus.
First round, right?
You know what?
Cup.
But that's, Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman, Vasilevsky,
Maroon.
all these guys learning how to win.
yeah,
They were learning how to win. And then they rattle off 2 in a row and lost in a third one. But now they have that, and it's never going to leave them, And, it's not going to work out every year, but they have that in them.
It's almost like just watching them last year, it's like you don't just have to beat Tampa, you have to kill them.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, I was like, that is a tough out.
Yeah.
They're just wired different, I think, because of the cumulative experience.
I remember watching one of their games against Florida, and Florida was a extremely explosive team, high scoring. It was one of the first 2 games. I forget which one. Tampa was up a goal or 2, and Florida couldn't get. They could barely get past center ice. They couldn't get a shot on net. Tampa was so tight, and the one turnover they had was Kucherov trying to make a like a back diagonal pass or a drop pass, and it got picked off. And you see Kucherov, who made the mistake, head down, sprinting back, and breaks up the play at the Tampa Bay goal mouth. That was only like blemish in their game, being up a goal or 2, and arguably one of the best playoff performers of all time busts his ass back and breaks up the play. They're winners.
That's an illustration of learning how to win.
Yes.
We got a 1-goal lead. Let's shut it down.
5 years ago, he might not have done that. he might have just shrugged his shoulders and, I don't know him, but that might have been it. But that's not what he does now.
And just the belief from all 20 guys that, hey, this is what we have to do to shut it down and be patient, play our game. Like, that takes knowledge, experience, and Florida was a good team. And I mean, that's an
Florida's a great team. They're the best team in the league.
No, man, that's exciting. It's exciting to think about the team ahead. I think everybody is excited about it. It's a good hockey club. We've touched on this too. The Wild aren't sneaking up on anybody anymore.
No.
And you're ready to face everybody's best. So, well, good luck to you guys in the start of the season. Enjoy your time team building. We appreciate you coming on here today.
Let us know how far you throw the ham as well.
I will.
Invite us. We'll come with and we'll chuck a ham.
Right.
I'm gonna be strategic with my ham. I'm gonna get like a circular
I think 20 yards is aggressive. That does not. No offense to you. It's just a big number. I mean, if you do it, it's fine. I'll look at the video.
Have you seen my arm?
You got the blacksmith hands. I know that you're a sizable man, but 20
a
yards
hell of a
is-
third
Look at him, he's backpedaling.
okay.
Well, this is the big thing too. So you go and you buy the ham. Actually, you know what? That's probably that. I don't know what 20 yards is.
I know. That's what I'm
That's a
saying.
10-pound
Is
ham,
it?
though.
Is it?
So you're saying
is
you're
it-
looking for a ham that
Can you
has
keep
like a
it
grip?
wrapped, or do you have to take it out of the wrapping?
And then is it a spiral ham? No, I think you wrap it. I'm
It's
just
got to
gonna
be
bowl that
wrapped.
thing. I
Otherwise, you
bowl
can
that
stick your
thing.
hands into it and that get gross.
Does it have to be in the air? Has to be in the air.
Yeah, you
when it
can't.
touches
you
the
can't
ground,
roll
it's
it.
done.
Can't roll it. Yeah.
Can't roll. No.
Come on, Ryan.
All right, no rolling, no ham roll here. But thanks for coming. I think you've got you should get puppy calendar. You and Lando gonna.
No, we're not in it. But
What?
No, Lando's
Oh.
Lando's just gonna. He's gonna meet some new friends.
Cloud City.
Yep. Cloud
Enjoy
City.
your bonding trip.
You know his birthday is May the 4th. He was born on May.
Lando's?
Yeah.
May the 4th be
Where
with
does the name Lando? Where did?
Lando
Calrissian. Come on.
Please, Carts.
He had Darth
You're
Vader
ruining,
sneak
you're ruining
up
the
on him,
podcast now.
but then he came
It was
back.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
In The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I don't know any of
Return
these
He was
the
like a
Jedi.
traitor for a minute, but then he ended up being a good
Him and
guy.
Han Solo are like
Yeah,
best
yeah.
buds.
Lando.
Yeah.
I'm more of an F1 guy, Lando Norris. If you guys know who
Lando
that is.
Norris, yeah.
He's also good. He was
McLaren.
named after Lando, probably. Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Cloud City.
Thanks,
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I mean, is there a better general manager to talk to on a podcast than Bill Guerin? I mean, we got to give him some credit. He's a lot of fun, isn't he? But hold on. I mean, how are you feeling after the conversation? I mean, imagine training camp is over. He called you into his office. He sent you to Wednesday night skate. Are you calling mom? Like, how is this?
The truth is, I played more of my career on Wednesdays than I did Tuesdays, so maybe I could play 1,000 games between the two nights. I think it would work out. I do think it's interesting that his dog is named Lando, because not much of the world is land.
No, not much.
Most of it.
Most of it is water. And I tell you what, most of it should be purified water with a nice reverse osmosis system from Connecticut. And do you want to know where you can get one of those, John?
I think there's a guy named Derek that has booties that you work with.
Yeah, Derek Doherty for sure, and Aquarius Home Services. He can install a Connecticut K5 system for you right at your kitchen sink. You get reverse osmosis from the tap. Put it in a water bottle, stainless steel. My daughter wants one of those hydro flasks. Not a big deal. Fill it up, take it to school. You've got yourself nice water. I certainly love them. I recommend them. They've earned the right to be recommended. And I don't just recommend their services with the water, John.
Can you transition to me then? Because I did such a good tape-to-tape pass to you there. Take a couple sentences and set me up.
So I used that water the other day to clean an apple, and it was so clean that I could hear a squeak on the peel of that apple.
You know what else goes great with apples is Jimmy's caramel dip. So next time you find yourself at Cub Foods or Hy-Vee, roll down to the bushels of apples. I don't know if they're in bushels at grocery stores, but look for the apples. Nearby there will be some sort of pallet or dolly of Jimmy's caramel dipping sauce. Use it on pretzels, use it on apples, make apple nachos. Let's get weird. It's fall, flannels, bonfires, apple nachos, Jimmy's salad dressings and dips, Minnesota company, as we like to say, don't ya be messing with the dressing.
I thought you were trying to go happy hour there and 2-for-1s because we've got Duke Cannon on board now, too. They've got the Bush soap, which is amazing. We should spend a second
I'm
going
to take that home with me, actually.
Bush soap, and I thought you were going Bush, I don't know.
For the mountains.
I thought maybe you're throwing me another segue. Bushel of soap.
Duke Cannon did give me some speaking points, but I think they got plenty of love with Mr. Guerin. Do you want to talk a little bit about bold predictions? Right when this comes out, we're going to be staring the start of the season in the face against the New York Rangers.
I do want to get into bold predictions. Let's do that. But let's do a quick recap of the things that Billy talked about. Anything stand out before we get into these bold predictions? He talked about Boldy, and it was intriguing to hear him really break down Boldy's game. I don't think I've heard something like that from him before on any individual player, but I think he's spot on with a lot of it. Anything that stood out to you in that conversation?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, so as a fan, right, we started this podcast because Minnesota sports fans are basically the worst. And we're waiting for, even this year, it's like, God, do I really want to get excited for another amazing regular season and then someone's going to cut our throat the first round, right? You have to get wound up. And what he said, which I was most impressed by, is it does feel different around here. These guys have been skating together for at least a month before they were supposed to. That was not the case a few years back. And there's an intensity. So when we record this podcast, we're right in Tria rink, and we have to walk by practice almost every time. And it just feels serious. So I think you've said this a couple times. Last year, it was sort of like we were just happy because we had a good room and a good culture, and we were going to start talking about the Stanley Cup. This year, it feels like, okay, we now know what we're supposed to do. We have to do it all the way, or we have to at least do it further. You have to win a playoff round. You have to, and the team feels like they know that. That's the best way I can describe it. And so I loved his theme of learning to win.
Right.
When he was telling that Kucherov story, I almost got the chills just because it's like it's a little play, nothing really happened on the play, but the fact that there's that type of buy-in. You become almost a zombie if you're a great playoff team. You need a stake to the heart, garlic necklace. It is tough to beat a team that knows how to win, and I do believe our team is learning how to win.
And I think when you have an energy like the seriousness that we feel around the rink right now, it comes from motivation, and I think you got to give this group some credit too. And by group, I mean management, coaches, because I think they've hit the right chords. And even with what Billy said, like, hey, we didn't adjust to certain things against St. Louis, and
got away from their game plan,
away from what we were. You guys abandoned who you were.
We felt the same way.
Success.
Remember watching that? It was like, what are we doing?
And it's not that he's like individually calling them out, but he's calling them out like, hey, you guys are good. Like, it's reinforcement at the same time. You are good, and you should have won that, but you got away from what you are good at, right? And instantly it's like sharpen your edge. And that's what it feels like out here. The edge has been sharpened. These guys are ready to go, right? And it's not – and we got into the 7th Street Savages with them last year. This stuff will come. It's not like the stabbing type of sharpness, right? It's like we're sharp. We're ready. We're focused on this, and this stuff matters, and we get it now. And I do think – and he talked about Vegas, and I believe that they learned a little bit. That's like the first step. That
was
step.
Interesting. He almost threw St. Louis in the garbage in terms of that series.
Right.
He went back to Vegas to say the way those guys spilled the beans in that series and the way that locker room looked after they lost is the way it's supposed to be. And it seemed like he was saying that was not the same feeling last year.
Right. So now that leads us to I think, a good time for bold predictions, because all of a sudden now you're looking at this Wild club and things have changed. Kevin Fiala, his 85 points, 33 goals out the door. They had a historic year, 113 points. And, you name it, it was like record check, 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 check. And the mantra coming in, and he said it too, do it again.
That was a classic Billy. Like, you're not an overachiever if you do it again.
Yeah.
So let's not be overachievers. Let's just be good.
Right.
No, some of his answers are so great because he's very contemplative. He takes a second and then do it again.
Yeah.
Then it
couldn't be more simple.
It's a great answer. You can imagine how he must be able to motivate people.
So 113 points, second in the West. They were behind Colorado. Bold predictions for this year.
Correct.
Yeah. So give me one.
Matt Boldy will replace Kevin Fiala's point production.
So you got him at 85. All right, so let's place an over.
I think he probably gets 80, but I feel good about it. It's going to be. I'll flirt with it.
This is crazy. I put 82 down. So Matt Boldy with 82 points. That one almost seems like it's a potential lock. And I don't see anything anywhere near a sophomore slump. And I think the way he's played throughout the preseason games, it doesn't look like that's coming whatsoever. He looks like he's taking the next step, not resting on his laurels. So I do think that there's a good chance 82 points, if not more, are possible for him. And I talked with Billy about this too, and Kevin Fiala, 85 points. I think Billy's not taking anything away from Kevin Fiala, but what he did say is part of the reason Kevin Fiala had 85 points was because of Matt Boldy. And if you look at the production from Kevin Fiala with Boldy and without him, it is different. Matt Boldy is an offensive driver, and he can bring somebody like Freddie Gaudreau or Rossi or whomever might center his line, Sam Steele, to a point where he can get points. So that's also very encouraging, 82 points. My bold prediction is probably on the heels of Boldy, and that's going to be the improvement in the power play. That Kalen Addison running it is going to be a wild card. I do think that it can be a good thing. You know, they've got 3 righties that I think potentially can run the power play up top there. That's Addison, Spurgeon, and Matt Dumba. One thing that a storyline.
And Addison's power play 1. He's the guy running.
He's PP1 right now, and they're giving him a chance, and that's what he's been doing. And
I didn't even know that.
And that's part of that is because the group coaches and everybody they're one of those people that believe, hey, if it doesn't work, we're going to have to change something. We're not going to retry this experiment from last year again this year and see if it just magically works. They're actively changing things. So Addison's on PP1 right now. Matt Dumba's not, and you haven't heard a peep. You haven't heard anybody complain. Nothing. So I think everybody's going in the right direction. Everybody understands there.
So what are you predicting?
I'm predicting that the Wild have a top 10 power play this year.
Nice, strong.
What percentage that is? Now, this is amazing. This is a stat that was brought up, too. The Wild had like a 20.8% power play last year, which historically a 20% power play is a pretty darn good power play. But that ranked 18th in the NHL last year. And I don't think that they scored timely goals. Billy talked about that, too, in terms of faceoffs. The power play scored goals, but they'd have a game where they score 4, and then they'd go 6 games without one. He needs them to score timely goals, and but yeah, 25% I think will get him in the top 10 PP, and I think they're possible. That's possible.
97 will get in at least one fight and beat the crap out of someone.
That is a bold prediction.
He's going to get in a fight this year, and he's going to smoke somebody. He's going to be so tired of people coming after him. He's from Siberia. He can handle himself. He's going to get somebody. I don't want him to hurt his hands or anything, but it's going to happen.
Do you remember, I think it was Alex Ovechkin, and he fought another Russian. I think it was Svechnikov. You remember that?
Sat him
Is
down.
that what you're envisioning?
Well, if you notice, those guys, when they fight, they win. Crosby, Malkin, they don't fight often. But if you get to the point when you're a superstar that you're like, enough, I'll handle this myself, you're going to win the fight. And I've just watched him play, and he's going to be so targeted this year. You know, hell, it might be in Boston in about a week here. But, yeah, he's going to go this year.
I think enough is enough in terms of the Selke. I think this year Eriksson Ek does win it.
Wow.
I think you need in today's game to be a 20, 25 goal scorer, if not more, to win the Selke. But if they have another year where they go on a stretch, I can't remember, they gave up like 3 or 4 5-on-5 goals like the entire year. If they do that again and he scores 25 goals, I don't know how he cannot win the Selke. And that's not taking anything away from Marcus Foligno or Jordan Green or anybody else that might play with him. There's a lot of times the Selke is an award that goes to a centerman, somebody that's taken draws, that plays the defensive side of the game more often, like that's his responsibility out of the gate. So I think Eriksson Ek wins the Selke this year.
Man, we're going to sound like rubes if we do all 10 of these because they're going to be too positive. But I think the Wild will have less points in the regular season, but will take a step forward winning at least one playoff series, which to me is all that matters. You gotta crack skulls. You got to end people. You got to end seasons. And that's what I want to see the Wild do. I want to see the Wild terminate somebody.
This is another bold prediction that I actually don't think this is positive, but I think it maybe almost can and has to happen. They were third in the NHL in penalties and minutes last year. I think for them to have success again this year, they need to be up there. They're not one of those clubs that can say, let's stay out of the box and be out of the box. A lot of them can be coincidentals in majors and certain things like that. But I think the Wild lead the NHL in penalty minutes this year.
Stay violent.
Stay violent.
I think that's great. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, that's not going to be great because obviously the penalty kill was an issue last year, and they were short too often. So they're going to have to find a way to not be short, but still get those penalties in minutes.
The Pim Kings. I got Rossi scoring 50
Points?
points.
Okay.
Not goals. Jesus.
Well, that is bold.
Jeez. You think I drank the Duke Cannon shampoo?
Yeah, I don't know.
Rossi 50 points. That's kind of a wimpy prediction, I suppose. I mean, Boldy.
I don't think it's wimpy.
That's a good year
Yeah.
for a rookie, right?
Yeah, that will get him in the Calder conversation for sure. If not, maybe the lead. Depends on obviously everybody else. But
Keep going so we don't look like too much of rubes. Do you have like Kirill winning the Hart, and what else do we got in here?
No, I don't. But I do think that the top end scoring for the Wild, so it might be harder for Kirill to get up there like 40, 50 goals. I think it's going to be by a committee. So again, I think that fourth line is better. They're scoring.
Jost, Steele, Duhaime.
I think the Wild still get their 300 goals this year, but I think that they're going to have like 5 or 6 20-goal scorers, maybe even 7 if possible. But it's going to be spread out quite a bit, and I don't think it's going to be as lopsided where they're leaning on 1 or 2 guys to score 50.
The pie chart will look different. I had Wallstead playing meaningful games with the big club.
I think that, I don't know how bold a prediction that is. And
Most people are saying he's going to stay down in Iowa the whole year, but I don't know. He's pretty special. I think we might see a little bit of the big Swede.
Well, that's where the philosophy comes in. So does Marco Rossi look special to you this year?
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
And some of that is seasoning in the American League. And
So you're saying he won't play?
And patience bears fruit, I think. And I think a lot of it will depend on situation. And they're not going to bring him up and put him in a situation where it's like must-win games and the pressure is on him. If it can somehow be a pressureless situation
Chicago.
and he can come in and play. But I think and this is just speculation, I think that the most important thing for him will be to see as many pucks in as many situations in pro hockey as possible this year. So I also don't see it where he comes up to the NHL and then sits on the bench and watches. If he's here, I think he's going to play. But I also think that then that means those situations can't be pressure-packed.
Do you think he gets a
Makes
start?
it very hard.
Do you think he gets a start for the Wild this
I think he gets a start for the Wild. I mean, right now on the depth chart, it depends on Zane McIntyre, who he's a good veteran pro goaltender, so he can come up and play too. But if there's an injury with the Wild in the net, let's say it's Marc-Andre Fleury, you've got Gustafsson and Wallstedt, and you need to win a game. It is realistic where you might have to say, yeah, we got to lean on the young kid. That is entirely possible.
You have any others you want to share?
Well, the other one, and this is going to seem like a homer. I'm a big fan of Dean Evison, the way he motivates, all these little things that he does too. Billy touched on the fact that he doesn't like to use labels, and I think at times that those things, it's just like, coaches have sayings in the locker room and in the bathroom where you see it and it's repetitive, and sometimes it's like in one ear, out the other. Like coaches are just saying it because it feels forced. Somehow, this group, it is organic. It is meaningful. Like labels don't matter. I do believe that they feel that. I think that the players feel empowered on the fourth line. The fact that they're not called a fourth line, it's not just something that occurs. Same with you got Addison running your power play, a young guy coming up, PP1 playing alongside of Kirill, and it's just amazing what he's willing to do and how he doesn't label guys, and he's great with it. So I think he's back in the Jack Adams conversation, and if the Wild can put up 113 points again this year, if not better than that, he wins a Jack Adams easy.
I like that. Let's talk about these two sets of games to start the year, and then we'll finish with the new headshots of the players, unless you have anything else.
I just want to go through just a quick look around the division for the Wild, and I'll rip through that quick. But,
Why don't you fire that up now? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, I mean, let's look at it. So last year, it was the Avs, the Wild, Blues, Stars, Preds, Jets, Hawks, Coyotes in that order. And the Wild did pretty well. Now, let's just go through each team. The Avs, they lost Kadri, Johnson, Kemper. And, they were able to get Georgiev and some other pieces. I do think that they're not as good a team this year as they were last year. Despite the fact that maybe Bo Byram's a year better, Makar might be another year there. I think they're gettable, but I still think that they're the cream of the crop.
Okay.
Go down a little bit further. The Blues, they've lost David Perron, who's a wild killer. Ville Husso, their number 2 goaltender. So Binnington all of a sudden is back to a 1A. It's his net again. He had lost it, regained it. Now it's just entirely his. The Blues, we'll see. I felt that they were getting older. O'Reilly, Shen.
They're kind of our nemesis.
They are right now.
We just don't. There's something about the Blues we just don't match up well.
But I think that they're hanging from the monkey bars and their fingers are starting to sweat and get tired a little bit, and they're starting to slip, and they might hit the ground soon.
Well, let's push them. Push them in the back.
That's right. Get them swinging.
Yeah.
Then you got the Stars, and I think the Stars are going to be better. Robertson, they lost Klingberg, who is a good power play defenseman, helps them put up points.
Why do you have them being better?
As a team?
Yeah.
Well, I think that their young guys are going to take a step.
Okay.
They've been in one of those situations where I think they've had to force some young guys. So, before they were maybe entirely ready, and just have them get used to the NHL game. I think those guys are better now. Where it was Sagan's and Ben's team, it no longer is now. They're support pieces for some of these younger guys. Rupe Hintz, Robertson, who they just signed to a new 4-year deal.
Eskinen.
Yeah, Ottinger in the cage. It's not Ben Bishop anymore. So they've got a lot of pieces that are real good. And Pete DeBoer, the coach there, a very structured coach. He'll have them prepared and ready to play. So I think the Stars.
Dallas up, St. Louis down.
If I had to predict right now, I actually do think that the Stars will finish ahead of the Blues this year.
Okay.
Preds, I think, will be the same. Question mark will be, I think, in the net for them and on defense. Roman Yossi's always a stud. Nino Niederreiter, as Minnesota Wild fans know, is now in a Predators jersey. So that'll be kind of fun to see. But I still think that they finish middle of the pack, maybe a playoff team. The Wild had trouble with them last year, but I think they're very beatable. The Jets. We go north. They've got a new coach, too, Rick Bowness, and their core is aging, too. So it's Scheifele, Wheeler. I think the coaching change illustrates that the players had kind of, and the staff had lost that core of players. And now there's a new voice coming in and speaking to maybe those players, maybe the young players, maybe not catering to the veteran guys as much. We'll see. But I think it always takes a little bit of time for teams to adjust fully to a new coach. And that's where the Jets might take until November to really figure out what Bonus is trying to do for them. And the Wild might be able to run past them before any of that stuff happens.
Good.
And then we don't have to spend a lot of time on the Hawks and the Coyotes, but Hawks they had a lot of guys go out. It's clear as day that this is not a rebuild. It is a full-blown. We are clearing the cupboards. We're looking for the number 1 overall pick, not just this.
Let's just call the Hawks Connor and the Coyotes Bedard.
Right.
So then whenever we talk about them, we just go, and then Connor Bedard.
So that's where
That's those two teams.
Yeah. So to wrap their whole division up, the Wild are in a good spot.
Where do you have the Wild finishing?
Because they're in the Central. I have them 2 again.
Okay.
I think the Avs are the cream. I think the Wild are right there. Then it's Stars, Blues, Preds. Those 3 are back and forth. But I have the Wild as number 2. And part of the reason I think that's going to stack up well in the West is because if you go out to the Pacific, they're not going to be able to feast on. And they still play in the West, but the Wild get more games against the Sharks and the Coyotes. And those guys, the Hawks and the Coyotes. The Hawks are going to be actively trying to lose, it looks like. So, those are points that you have to bank. And
we'll help them do that.
And the Wild can climb versus those teams in the Pacific because now Seattle was the bottom of the barrel in the Pacific, and they're better. Anaheim is better. The Kings are better. The Sharks are better. Everybody out in the Pacific Division is better. So I really like the spot that the Wild are in right now. It's like a 5-horse race up there for 3 to 4 spots in the playoffs, maybe 5 spots out of the Central.
That was some great analysis, Ryan Carter.
Thanks, bro.
That was good. I like that. All I want to say is I think this first 4 games is really intriguing for Wild fans. And by the way, if you haven't bought tickets to opening night is awesome. I went last year with the Jets and the overtime and the hat trick and the Superman punch. Holy hell. New York Rangers coming to town, weekday. I mean, that's like the new car smell of a hockey season. It's so fun to go to opening night. And then we got Fifi coming to town with the Kings.
The lotion.
And so much lotion and fish tacos, and he's so clean. And then we got the champs coming to town, Colorado, and then Vancouver. So that's just a nice little group of death to start, right? We got Colorado, Rangers, Fiala, and Vancouver. I think that's a fun start to the year.
With it being Wild on 7th now, no longer Stanley on 7th, I still feel like it's a whole new audience, and we need to explain some of our little bits there. But Kevin Fiala wasn't a beautiful baby, but
he's just a handsome man.
Just a handsome young fella.
Yeah, he's super
who liked to
handsome.
moisturize. At least that's what we were told.
Although I would say the Wild generally are a good-looking NHL club.
Yeah.
And that's a good transition to the headshots that
Yes.
just came in. So will you tell me as a player, okay, so you're coming in for media day, how aware of the fact that you got to get your picture taken, and that's the photo of you for the whole season? So if you're minus your -4, that's the picture they see. If you get a hat trick, or you don't want to be too tan, maybe you want to be in shape. Like what's the headshot mean to an NHL player? Nothing, or
I bet you now with Instagram, all these guys are aware of the way they look. I think back in the day, it really didn't matter that much. You didn't give a crap. But I think more important than any of that stuff is how media day is actually set up. It's the first day of training camp, and
Yep.
it stinks. So when I was with
because
the
they
Wild-
just run you around like monkeys?
Yeah, kind of. So, but it started for us at Tria in Bloomington at like 7 in the morning, physicals. So you'd fast. You'd have to fast from about 6 o'clock the night before until your physical in the morning. So you run through all these physical testing to make sure that you're healthy and fit and able to play. Then you rush over. You might do some of your other like off ice training stuff, and then you get into media day headshots and stuff. So by the time you get there, you're kind of gassed, and you're like, okay.
So you're like worn.
And you
out.
can see it in their faces. Like if you
Yeah.
go back through some of these, and that's a fun little bit. I think we've talked about this. You go on Hockey DB, and the
Just
little
click
picture,
on the
You
square.
can click on the picture, and you can see all of them and how the guys have evolved over time. And you just see some disheveled dudes on there, But
Well, hey, get in here close. We're going to look at these headshots. I don't even think these are on the website yet.
so these are new.
Yeah, so we do a little rapid fire here. I think Spurge looks pretty good. He looks more
He
serious.
looks clean, but he's like that's like the captain, like clean cut, edges are tight. Like
But he
that's
can
what
be
you want.
childlike, and I think he
Manicure.
looks more grown up here.
You think that's because he left the 5 o'clock shadow? Like no beard, straight mustache, but
I think more 3 o'clock shadow, 3:30 shadow. So
It'd
Spurgeon,
go the other way, wouldn't it?
Spurgeon, thumbs up.
It'd be like a 5 p.m. shadow. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great thumbs up.
Oh, Johnny Merrill. Whoa, that's a double thumbs up. That looks like Lando, Guerin's dog. A little
It
bit,
does.
doesn't it?
But I just love
He's
him
reckless.
because
He
look
is
at the
reckless.
smile. Like he just looks like he enjoys
Yeah,
life. Like
he's
just-
mischievous.
and he just looks happy. He looks like everything's a mess.
Total disaster. Love him. Zuki, he's been better.
He looks like Zorro. to me.
Kind of got caught off guard, maybe. I don't know that. I think I don't know. Maybe a retake.
So he might be, whatever his birth year is, he might be the guy right around that age where things flip, where guys start to be cognizant of their headshot. Like, I'm not sure he cares still, if that makes sense.
That's right. Yeah. So he's just like, take it.
Yeah.
They're like, do you want to do another one? He's like, no.
So it's like rotary phone versus cell phone. Like there's like a straight line when people do that. Same with cord cutters and cable viewers. You know
like
how that
that.
is.
I like that.
He's probably at
It's
the
just
birth
like-
year where it's like it doesn't. I don't.
He's already
care.
a made man.
Yeah, this doesn't matter to me.
Moose.
Well, Jackson, Maine, he even smiles. I love the guys that smile. Like when you have a tough guy like Marcus Foligno that doesn't have to fake being
Yeah,
tough.
he's Disney.
Like somehow he can be like happy,
But
beautiful.
have we figured out if he colors his
hair.
hair though?
The sun? It probably it's just a kiss of.
If he colors his hair, that's a problem. We'll have to ask him that. Freddie didn't shave the neck.
But it makes it look like his beard's a little bit longer.
He maybe doesn't care either.
That looks like a guy that spent a ton of time in the gym and just came out for the first time, ready for media day.
Yeah, he's tough. This is just unbelievable. I think Duke Cannon should hire Hartman right now. That's one of the best headshots I've ever seen. That's a handsome man.
You know what I've never noticed before? So you've got to look at Hartman's eyes, and it's just like
Don't look at his eyes. I don't think you should.
but straight line across. Like there's no eyebrow that goes up. Everything. It's like a straight line right through eyebrows. Everything. He's got his game face on. Like everything about him is horizontal, straight lines, ready to just feast on you.
He's black leather jacket. He's what every guy wants to look like,
Yeah.
basically.
He's got a chopper.
Dumba, that's a good shot of Dumba, I think. He just looks, he's got a little of the mischief as well. A little bit of a smirk.
Yeah, he does. And
Nice goatee.
you know what we might have to
cleanly
talk.
shaven.
You know what we might have to talk him into is like a little mohawk up there. I think he'd look good with a mohawk.
He would. He brings some Mohawk energy. Carell maybe caught off guard a little bit.
So
It can't be Carell's first rookie year one with the something about Mary hair. I mean, he was.
somehow this picture looks like he's asking a question.
Yeah, I don't. That's he. I mean, I love
Like
you, 97, but you can do better.
Like, am I taking a picture?
Ecker.
That's standard-ish Eck, I think, right?
That seems to be Erickson Eck.
I love the guys too. If we go back, I love the guys that put the jersey on with no shirt underneath. That's my favorite.
Who did that?
Eck.
Is he the only one? Oh no, Freddie too. I think maybe. Does he have anything under
I
there?
don't know. Yeah,
I think it is
Everybody
just-
else has like a black
it's just-
shirt on.
but he's
It's
Mr.
Eck, straight
September.
neck, yeah.
What about Greener here?
Greener kind of looks like a little bit of a caveman, maybe.
That's some serious neck beard and
Like
regular
out of his
beard.
pocket, he might just have like a tomahawk steak and take a bite out of it or something.
This is probably a great podcast, by the way, because they can't see the pictures. Middleton, great mustache.
Yeah,
Should have
Middleton.
smiled though, without the teeth.
I think we've talked about this before. He just screams Gangs of New York to me, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he's great. Duhaime also, love that. Just a little.
So that's a smirk.
Yeah, he's about kind of starting to laugh. He's like, really? Yeah. And then Boldy finishes up with kind of the Wipers hairstyle coming down to both sides.
It's
Pretty
just such a
serious.
great haircut.
So much better than his last year photo with the tie. Rossi.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of doing the same hair as Boldy.
yeah, he is.
They
The
probably
beautiful babies
maybe that's
have
like
the
a
same
huge-
DNA.
That's a huge thing in Iowa. They were probably at the mall and they were like, "That's a cool haircut," and
Let's
then they
do
both
it.
did it. And then Billy G.
Billy's got nice hair. He's got some product from Duke Cannon now he can put in there, spice it up if he needs.
So you're welcome for the worst podcast experience ever, since you can't see any of those photos. But we'll cut that into a nice promo clip.
That'll be the promo clip or something.
And you probably haven't even seen those pictures yet. You got anything else before we finish? Besides, let's get this season off on the right foot. Go to the Rangers game, Wild fans. Get after it.
Yes, no, season opener. It's exciting. The Wild were good at home last year. They're going to have to, I think, duplicate that. But it was fun sitting down with Billy. He's always a blast. Good stuff here today, Kinger. Sorry to put you on the spot and have to have Billy assess you, maybe cut you down and send you into a Wednesday night game. But that was a lot of fun. Appreciate it. That's it. We're here.
Till it's here.